Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. There was no intro for a reason because I'm absolutely fuming and I'm very positive when it comes to YouTube. And as I said, and I don't want to go too arse over tit. We're a game in, aren't we, Luke? And welcome, Luke. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Right.
Luke will be counselling me through the next hour, probably calming me down a bit.
Calm down.
Oh, don't you start. You're getting kicked as well. I've had enough of Haaland banging goals in today, and don't get me started on him. But welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. And hopefully, we have a very sensible discussion tonight, really. But as I said, I'm quite calm over the last couple of years, but I need to say my piece. Everyone's thoughts and opinions are entitled. You can agree to disagree, and that's social media, and that's life as well. And I'm hoping that Luke does pull me up on a couple of points, or Spider as well will be joining me as well. But everyone's views are entitled, and that's why we look at football. Everyone looks at football different. You can look at a certain aspect of a game, and someone's got a different rationale thinking. Life is all about opinions, and respect everyone's opinions. But when we play like that yesterday, it's not acceptable. We've lost over the last couple of years, Luke. We've lost league titles by 1 point and 2 points. And yes, 37. Bring it back. We've got 37 league games still to go. A lot of points will be dropped, hopefully by Manchester City. But unless Liverpool win the next 37 games on the run, then Liverpool are going to drop points as well. It's what we do in the meantime before those games. What do you say?
There's a lot of things to be done, and not just on the pitch, off the pitch as well, which we will talk about, I'm guessing. But I mean, first of all, thanks for letting me come on, mate. Really appreciate it. Obviously, it's always a pleasure coming on the channel and obviously talking Liverpool and talking football.
Always welcome,
it's frustrating start, obviously, and as you said, I think the point side of it, it's like the last couple of seasons, of course, when we've contested against Manchester City, it's always been, as you said, the space of one game.
I think it's been a point over the space of like 2 seasons.
Yeah, and I think I see something. It was updated today. I think it was Man City over the last 5 years have collected 3 more points in Premier Leagues compared with Liverpool. You know, which is like, it's absolutely staggering. I mean, the sustained level between the two sides has just been unbelievably high. But I think that's where us as Liverpool fans are that's where we're sort of trying to sort of maintain with the fact of 2-3 years ago, maybe slightly longer, we could afford to drop, you'd say, your 15 to 20 points. Now it's like,
especially the older generation as well that grew up in the 70s and 80s. I spoke to my dad and a lot of his mates as well, and a lot of the older generation. They were saying you could afford then, but we're living in the reality of now. Now
you can't now. Like, you think Manchester? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You think Manchester City? You know, last season they won the league. Was it 95 points or 93 points last season?
Yeah,
something
along those lines. 100-point season as well.
Exactly, season. and we finished. I think it was 99 or 98 points like that. And it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. On the flip side of it, I mean, it's unfortunate for us for the amount of points that we've got, and we've not won more league titles. It's absolutely ridiculous, but that's the level. That's the standard. Like, that's the standard now of Manchester City, what they've set. And we said the same thing last season when we dropped points to Brentford, we dropped points to Brighton, we dropped points to all these other teams that Liverpool should be beating. And that, as you said, mate, that's the standard. Like, that Liverpool need to get right. We've got Crystal Palace next week, and we could be going into that game, and I believe we will be going into that game 5 points by Manchester City already in the first 2 games, which is like, it's just unbelievable. Like, I mean, I know it's early days, and I know people can look at it from that standpoint. It's the first game. You know, we didn't play well. We got something from the game at least. That's the only positive I would say from it. But yeah. I fully agree with you, mate. You look at it and you think to yourself, it's already a defeat already. Like, it's already Man City. That Community Shield game we was talking about, psychologically, Liverpool got an advantage. I mean, now that's just totally swung. Like, in Man City's favour.
I don't know. You can like. Yeah, sorry there, I think my internet's playing up, so apologies. I will get to open comments as well. But yeah, we're going to be debriefing quite a lot. And just shout out. Speaking of big physical players at the back post, wait until we play Bournemouth and big old Kiefer Moore is flying at Trent
Yeah.
Alexander-Arnold at the back post when we played the Cherries anyway, so that should be fun. But yeah, it's not Trent's job to supposedly defend the back post because he's so good going forward. Yes, he makes up going forward, and you win you more points within a season going forward. But he's still got to do, and it's not just Trent on that first goal. We'll speak about anyway, mate. But there was 4 passage of plays within that game, within that goal. Obviously, Hendo losing the ball, Robbo not closing down the cross, allowing him to cross that ball in. Trent at the back post, his positional play was an absolute joke. And I'm hoping, and yes, he goes forward, gets an assist and gets goals, and he creates so much for Liverpool, but he's still got to do the basic fundamentals defensively as well. And especially when we've just been speaking about league titles, small decisions within games win and lose you titles, and they win your games of football. And we've had trends over the last couple of years, not just Trent, but as a defensive whole. You defend as a team from the front to the middle to the back. That's how you defend. And then Alisson, like Christ Almighty, we would not have been going to the last game of the season last year if it wasn't for Alisson Becker in between the sticks, because he bailed us out on how many occasions, Luke, back end of last season.
Yeah, best goalkeeper in world football. I mean, this sums it up. He's earned that right. The amount of times that we've seen Alisson sort of bail us out, making big saves and big decisions in key moments. I mean, obviously you can go back to 2 years ago when he scored the goal against West Brom. I mean, that got us into the Champions League and got us in positions to be competing. But I fully agree with you. See, that's how I look at football as well. A lot of people don't sometimes. I mean, they fully blame Trent for the cross. I mean, and that's, if people have that opinion and that viewpoint of it, yes, obviously Trent should be doing better at that position. Like, for me, he should at least contest for the ball and try and jump to try and put Mitrovic off a little bit. Or
for me, if Trent sees him, mate, we've all played football in the park as a kid or Sunday league. If Trent positions his body better and he times his, I know he's got some big lump behind him, and Mitrovic will get goals at the back post a lot of times. If he plays like that, he at least try and do something, or at least Matip shift over, or the whole team shift over.
Yeah.
Or like Fabinho, if he sees him. It's all about communication, mate, and it was an absolute shambles.
And I think from the sounds of it, mate, I fully agree with you. It from the sounds of the goal as well, from that phase of it, it was just pure ball watching. I mean, everyone, Matip, if you say Trent as well. But I mean, I look at the goal thoroughly, and it's like, that's where I look at it. I look at phases of play, how we've got into that position. How have Liverpool got themselves in that position where they're defending that sort of situation where they shouldn't have been defending that situation? Henderson wasn't strong enough. Originally, I'll be honest, I generally thought it could have been a foul because there was a tread on his foot. But I have looked it back a few times, and no, he's not strong enough in my opinion for there. Expecting
Hendo stayed on the floor because of the shame of what he just done.
Yeah.
Yes, he got fouled, but it was almost a case of, I've lost the ball. Shit, I'm going to stay on the floor.
And I think a lot of referees this season as well, they're going to stamp out things like that. As much as how bad sometimes they are, but they're going to stamp out little soft ones like that. And as you said, with Robertson, me and Ricky just done our review, and Ricky made a very good point about Andy Robertson. Like, he's got a big ego.
I put that in the chat, mate, and that's a whole nother show in itself. And it's one of the points which I'll speak a bit about later. If we've got enough time, I've made notes, but loyalty to certain players as well. Pep Guardiola, over the last couple of years, he's been very cutthroat with certain players within that squad, and a lot of legendary managers in the past have done. Yes, and we love every single one of these players, but sometimes there is past as new as well, and especially the game is evolving. We can't stand still. There's a lot of elements which we'll speak about tonight, mate, but sometimes I think Klopp is too loyal to certain players, and that does need to be getting discussed, and agree or disagree as well. But for me, as I said there, to your point, mate, I said, and Ricky alluded to, give Costas a chance.
And we've seen when he's been put in the team, he actually does a decent job. It's not like, and that's the whole point of buying, like when we bought Costas Tsimikas, that's the whole point of buying that depth. And you've seen with Pep Guardiola, like, he will buy the depth in the squad. He'll buy the depth in the squad around these players. Like, I mean, obviously, you see this season, it will come within time. He's obviously signed the likes of Calvin Phillips, for example. He's obviously got other depths around these areas and attacking areas and defensive areas. But he's not afraid to chop and change if mistakes are made, for example. Like, I'm not saying that Robertson's made X, Y, Z amount of mistakes, but
Robbo's probably, sorry there, and all of us probably agree, everyone watching, Robbo's been one of our most consistent players over the space of the last 3-4 seasons. He just needs a bit of help, like in certain games as well. Like, similar with Gini Wijnaldum. I know he's left, and we go, he's gone to Roma. But what you got with Gini Wijnaldum was consistency throughout the season, and he was never injured. He'd always do a 7 out of 10 every single game he played. So, yeah. But yeah, spot on there, la. Hello, Spider.
Hey, lads.
How you doing, mate?
I'm good.
And I was just saying, thank you very much for joining me, mate. And as not the best result, but make sure to get through everyone's comments. But first, I'll go through all of them. Shout out Gary as well. We need a forward and a midfielder, otherwise it's City's league. Yes, plus Russell, thank you very much for your comment, mate. I've made quite a lot of points, and we will be touching on that as well in terms of those aspects. How many changes do Jones, Keita, Ox get? Firmino was too poor, and that probably ties in Russell, as Luke was alluding to with his show before. If you haven't seen Luke and Ricky's show, please do head over. Subscribe to the 1892 Reds podcast. How many are you away from? Is this 700?
5 away now from 600. So we done quite well on the latest episode. But yeah, guys, we've just done our latest review. So obviously, once you've checked out this channel, obviously, and subscribe and like over here, come and subscribe over to my channel. So yeah,
go ahead, boys. Yeah, but please do head over if you haven't subscribed to the channel. I know a lot of you already have, but if it hasn't, get the lads to 700. Go ahead. Is it 700 or 600? Sorry, 600. You just said 600.
Get to 700
as well, and 800 and a K. That thumbnail is making me sick. Sorry, Dob, but it has to be done, and we will be speaking about those individuals on that thumbnail. And Luke, you should have shouted. I had Jay Lings behind me and Thingy. That was because it was on your show this weekend. Oh,
I was gutted you didn't get a consolation goal against Newcastle. You could have been, you could have been telling me all about it, Jack, on the show last night.
Yeah, you never know. Him and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain could have been doing a TikTok or something somewhere. But Spider, just obviously, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I appreciate that. And we'll be getting through everyone's comments. So please do drop them in the comment section below, and we will get through to them. If I don't read them out, I will feature them on the channel. You will be getting showed, because everyone that takes the time out to support mine, Spider, Luke's channels as well, we absolutely really do appreciate it. Absolute legends. But Spider, just did you catch any of the stuff that me and Luke were discussing on the?
Oh, you didn't. I was finishing the stream there for the other channel, and then I just popped straight on. Pretty much, it was like straight over.
Yeah, no worries, lad. But not to summarise, but how disappointed were you off the back of yesterday's results? I was saying to Luke and chat at the beginning of the show, it's difficult when we live in a time period now, especially over the last 3-4 years. We especially the level in which City do reach, and us we have over the last couple of years, that you can't leave any stone unturned, can you? In terms of
no, not really. It wasn't really more of disappointment. It was more of really surprised at how poor we were at the start of that game. Just from the way we played against City just a few days beforehand to that, it looked like some of the lads. It looked like they were at the end of the season rather than the start of the season for some of them, and looked tired. Hendo looked tired already. Bobby looked a small but clueless. His passing was awful in certain stages. He's a person that could play a weirdly hard pass and get it right, and then a simple pass 5 feet to another guy next to him, and it would go off 3 feet to his left. It's just he was poor. To me, Trent disappointed me in a way that he looked like he couldn't be arsed playing the game, as if it was just like, let's just get to the next one. That's the feeling that I got. I didn't see much passion. I just found that it was a nuisance or a hindrance to him, to be honest. And I love Trent, but I just thought, you need to play every game like you're playing a Champions League final for me. Especially you learn from the last few seasons when we did play the new teams coming up. They do give you a test in the first 10-15 minutes. They try and come at you. They try and do stuff because they know they don't have a chance. Otherwise, this wasn't a shock. The shock was the fact that we allowed them to do it for longer and then couldn't come up with any ideas to counter it because they were winning every second ball. They were closing us down really fast.
Yeah, spot on there, mate. They were playing like they wanted to win the league.
Yeah.
It looked like Liverpool, the newly promoted side.
Yeah,
in the first half, definitely.
They were closing everything down. They played well. They were the better team in the first half. I thought we were the better team in the second half, and I still don't think that's a penalty for me. I know. I still don't think it is. No matter what way you might see a knee brush against a knee, it's not enough connection to go down because the way he dived went from the foot down, not the knee down. Because if his knee went down, he obviously would have get knocked in the knee and turned. If you get knocked in the knee, anybody knows you bang an elbow and an elbow together, or you bang a knee and a knee together, your knee goes in the opposite direction, But he just went down like he got.
It's gonna sound really mad, but I disagree. I actually genuinely think that's clever thought. I think
it's clever from him to go down.
It's very soft. Like there's no debating that. But
I say it was a pen as well.
It's so clever what Mitrovic has done. He knows that Van Dijk's obviously the favourite in the situation where like you can't dribble past him, etc., but he's able to. His feet are so fast, like he's able to really sort of just nick the ball away from Van Dijk. So he's able to then create and initiate the contact. But I sort of flip it in a sense where it sounds kind of mad saying it, but if that's us, we're shouting out a penalty.
Everybody is.
Lastly, I think we looked at. I think there was Jota's penalty last year against Palace. Right, I think that's very similar, and I didn't think at the time it was a penalty. But I mean, they always say it swings and roundabouts. They always say but I mean, obviously it's a.
It goes to the point that me and you, Luke, spoke and Jas was saying at the top of the show. We can stop that goal, and that's what Pep Linders will be saying in trading.
For me,
Klopp. You stop that. Yeah, you stop that penalty getting given 2, 3, 4 passes before that's even happened.
Yeah.
For me personally, I mean, I don't like sort of calling out players, sort of thing. But for me, 100% fault on that penalty is Joel Matip. He doesn't need to play that pass. He could have, sometimes we got the ball sort of at the back. We was just playing it about, just sort of creating, keeping the ball. Fulham was sitting off because they knew we got that goal. We was on the front foot. And I don't know, just played this audacious pass 6, 7, 8 times in the game where, as Spider said, Fulham were pressing high up. They were blocking those passing lanes, sort of thing that Liverpool weren't able to get by that sort of first, second press. And Matip just played a silly ball. And it was and when we were defending it, we were 2v1 at one point. I was like, what is going on? Where has everyone sort of gone? And I mean, I put full blame for me on Joel Matip for that penalty.
And that says a lot when you're probably your most consistent player in the team's dropping a clanger in reality, because we know how good
he can't always play well, but for me, he was superb last season. But yesterday he had a bit of a stinker yesterday, as well as some other Liverpool players did as well.
Thing is, if City players have a stinker, they've got probably more quality to come off the bench, and a lot more of their players are more consistent. And that proves within them winning league titles over the last 3 to 4 years. When 1 or 2 of our players are off it, the whole team's off it. I feel. But get to everyone's comments as well. So many bloody comments. Thank you very much for tuning in as well. As I said, everyone respects everyone's opinions. Everyone's thinking different. You're probably sitting at home disagreeing with me. Probably are. And obviously the lads as well. But obviously everyone's views are all entitled as well in the comment section below. But I'm welcome. You are new around here. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you do head over to Luke and Ricky's channel, the 1892 Reds podcast, and obviously Spider from the Kitmen anyway. And honestly, we need to get rid of the deadwood players and bring in quality on the bench rather than just bodies. We need who play one decent game, and then that's it. I'd agree with you there, Russell. We're always speaking about that. How you doing, Alan? Thank you very much for tuning in, mate. Absolute legends. If Klopp continues to be stubborn and not buy a midfielder or two for the injuries prone to midfielders, we'll be fighting for top 4. This game versus Fulham should have been a win as well. And no disrespect, as you said there, Cassie, we've got the quality in our team, and yes, you can drop points, but it's the manner in which, as we've already discussed at the top of the show, it's the manner in which you go about it. And probably, I don't know, and Chas, probably the first time I've actually heard Jurgen Klopp actually come out and say quite publicly in the presser that he was very disappointed. He's so staunch to his players, and I think after that result, you need to, and especially the hype round, obviously winning, as Luke said, the Community Shield. We went in with the season with a lot of optimism, but it can quickly go away over the couple of weeks as well. That's football. That's the reality of being a top elite team. You can see this City team is good enough to run away, and everyone go, oh yes, we can pull back another 16, 15 points. We can come back, but we shouldn't have to be doing that again. For what? Like the last couple of seasons, we've been doing that for the last 3 seasons.
It reminded me of the Belgrade game. That's what it reminded me of. The away Belgrade game. Yeah.
And even the Aston Villa game, Joe, when we were just chasing shadows in that game, and you're like, and the Watford game. Remember when we got absolutely battered by Watford?
I think on my preview, I think I cursed it. I said, Marcus Silva's never lost a home game against Jurgen Klopp. So it's like I've kind of cursed it. I think.
There we go. It's a good stat there, though. Going into next season, they stay in the league. And fair credit has to go 100% in goal for us on the panel. And there's any Fulham fans watching as well in the comments. I tell you what, if he's played like that, the way he's did, use it easy stay in the Premier League.
So, just before I forget, I do apologize. But so Rebecca's cousin's a massive Fulham fan, and when they scored, obviously, like he's texting me, messaging me, like, "Oh, Mitch." The first thing I've said is a typical, that was a fucking foul. And he's like, of course it was, sort of thing. But no, he said a similar thing as what he's about to say. Like, it's Fulham won't play like that every week. They will go next week, whoever they're playing against, and lose 3-0.
I said to you, I said Fulham will literally go and lose the next 5 games. Yeah. But it's when we lost the league title over the last couple of years. The teams that have beat us, they've gone on the following weeks to get beat. I know that's football, and that's what we love and hate sometimes about football, but that's the kind of beauty of it. Those aspects really, Klopp got it wrong. I completely get it. Liverpool a shower of poo. Bobby, Hendo, and Fabi were poo. Bobby has had the worst game ever. Darwin Núñez would start next Monday. Yeah, you don't. And I think all of us, and don't know everyone else felt, I went into this game wanting to start Bobby. How that game transpired, Bobby's now getting the whole brunt of that result, and he's getting absolutely slandered in the press and all over because of other players in that team as well. Obviously, Bobby was a part of it, but there was a lot of cogs in the system that were wrong.
Is there any issue or word on Thiago's injury tomorrow?
Nothing yet, and that's bad.
I think we'll dip into transfer market if he's out for a couple of months. I'll be honest with
you. We've got I think we've got 4 or 5 out now, haven't we? Thiago,
Jones,
Jones,
4 behind me. They're all injured.
Naby Keita's one's illness. Get some paracetamol, lad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. we had Suarez, we had Gerrard, we had Carragher, players that actually would run through the pain barrier. Like these modern day players are far too pampered. That's another whole show in itself. But yeah, he's spot on there, boys. We'll get to the midfield issues. I knew we can bring in anyway. Bobby didn't work Saturday. Núñez should start instead, and he will learn. Thiago. Well, the thing is, we've got no translator on the pitch now. Obviously, Thiago was basically Núñez's personal translator on the pitch, and he's going to be in the stands. So, especially obviously we've got Pep Linders on this touchline anyway.
And Diaz isn't the greatest. At least they can talk to each other.
Right, though. We've got the Scouser kit. Well, I was going to say we've got Scouser Curtis Jones, but he's injured. I was going to say, but Harvey Elliott, he's got a good chemistry with Núñez. Don't ask me how they communicate, but that's hand gestures anyway. But spot on there, Dave. Dave, we don't. It's too stubborn. And Poacher from the gaffer. Amons, we've got to beat the top 6 sides if we're dropping points to relegation fodder. And that was our issue. Spider won it, and Chat and Luke. Unless our form this season completely flips on its head, then we could be looking at exactly what we had 2 years ago when we were heavily depleted in the defensive crisis in which we have. It could be this season, could be the midfield crisis in terms of injuries.
We can't do that again. We can't let ourselves go until January and hope for the best, and then be too far behind to be able to do anything about it, and then basically recover and get into Champions League spots. Need to be fighting for the title, and if they're going to have to be serious about it. I don't care what Klopp's plans are for next season. If we're completely depleted in the midfield, and the majority of them are going to be out for more than 2 or 3 months, then he's going to have to dip. It would just be just nonsensical if he didn't dip in the mark, even for somebody on loan or something like that. Just if he doesn't want to spend the bobs and just take over ways, there's plenty out there of top quality that would love to be on loan with a chance to buy at the end of the season. So because you got to look at it then, is we're going to be looking beyond Ox. We're going to be looking maybe beyond Keita from next season.
We're looking at giving Keita. Sorry, there, lad. We're looking at giving Keita, I suppose, if you want to believe some of the tabloids, giving Naby
a contract to be the fourth choice. Yeah,
it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, if you think, I think with the midfield options with Thiago out, I mean, I just see Statman's comments about Big Six Bants and Thiago's out for the World Cup. That's not true. There was a fake Paul Joyce account that was going around with like 25 followers, which come out and said that. So obviously, I don't think that nothing's been confirmed yet on social media or anything. But from what I heard, it's like the fixtures like is so congested. Like you've got, I think Champions League, like the 6 games in Champions League are going to be played over 8 weeks. Then you've got Premier League, like potentially you could be playing 10 games in the space of about 50 days. So that's what, one game every, say, 4 to 5 days. We can't be put into a situation where we're going to be playing, you would think, between 20 and 25 games with the midfield options that we've got right now. We've got no choice. We have to go into this window and get a midfield player in. If it's that Nunes from Sporting Lisbon, if it's Barella, if it's there's got to be someone out there that we can potentially go and buy this summer. I mean, we've got no choice. We have to now. It's,
as you said there, mate, it's the way we play as well, though. Our whole game and ethos, and I've got bloody new book anyway. Sadly, I haven't got it. Intensity.
Can he play midfield?
Yeah, intensity. That's what was missing. And I said to you on, obviously, your show, Luke, in the comments, City had played, 2 games in pre-season? And this is a hallmark of Pep Guardiola over the last couple of seasons. He says, and I think it was quoted this week, a couple of weeks ago, paraphrasing, but he said basically that he wanted to give his players a rest. But Liverpool, over the last couple of years, have done the complete opposite. And the way and the intensity was lacking on Fulham. Fulham had the intensity as well. But you spot on there, boys. And I get a great point by Alan. Let's not forget this is the first game of the season. Fulham could be a tough side to beat anyway this year, but we'll never know really what after just one game this season. But Ben, as I said, the opening point, and that's the one thing that irks me. Thank you very much for your comment, mate. In terms of, as I said, we've lost league titles by 1 or 2 points. Just saying, and it was the draws that killed us last year.
Yeah.
Not just last year, but the years before under Rafford as well. Countless draws.
Do you remember under Rafa where we drew like Hull, Fulham, Sunderland? We lost the league by 4 points to United. We went there and spanked them 4-1 at Old Trafford, and then like you see, we drew 0-0 with Hull and like Reading, Sunderland, Wigan, and all that. It's like fuck's sake, like.
Yeah, it's small margins in it, boys. But great point by Alan. The one thing we don't have is a hard man. I don't mean a dirty player, but someone who yesterday, when he pushed around, he would have made a few tackles and then had them wondering if he was coming.
That's
as
Fabinho.
well.
And Paulino was there yesterday. He was very good for them. Paulino, is that his name?
Paulino, I think.
Yeah, he was very good for them.
Yeah, but that's another case we'll probably we'll maneuver into. If Fabinho's injured, and Henderson is injured in certain moments, who's playing in the 6? Milner. Is Milner going to be playing in the 6?
Nah, mate, that's why we brought Jay Spear in.
Yeah.
I might end my stream right now. If that, I'm
Jay Spear in number 10, Jack, you know.
After Milner's game yesterday, he's playing up the right instead of Salah.
Yeah, Milner come on and he was our best player.
That's it, chat as well, boys and chats. I love Milner, but we're going to be playing at this rate Milner until he's like 45, doing the lactose test.
Our first Big Six away game, we're going rocking with a midfield of Henderson, Milner, and Spearing. I can see it.
But the Anfield Live, thank you very much for your comments, everyone. I know you've dropped your comments in. We'll be getting through every single one of them. We'll be reading them out anyway. But the Anfield Live, we are definitely short in midfield of some trust. We trust, if not there, and Bobby is declining, and Virgil van Dijk is aging. Little then, our spine isn't as good as it was. And the Anfield Live goes to quite a lot of the games, mate. I know, obviously, do head over to the Anfield Live channel as well. There's a lot of match day vlogs of the games and everything. So, yeah, you travel up and down the country, mate, and Europe as well. And especially, I'm surprised the players. If I was a player in that changing room yesterday, I would have paid with my wages every single fan's ticket off when you play like that. I know it's something drastic, but if you put in a performance like that, and especially the distance fans have travelled and the money fans have paid as well, I know the fans probably our fans wouldn't be too bothered, but it sort of needs to be like that. We were being a little too loyal to some players, and I said that the Anfield Live. Loyalty, and I think this does need to be put in the air as well, in the air of conversation. And I said it with Luke before. I think it was loyalty. We spoke about that, Luke, didn't we, as well, miss? Yeah. That does need to be getting discussed. I'm the only one who's going to say that Porsche Thiago is not up to Premier League. His body cannot handle it, and he's just like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. And Shane, I'm made up. He said that, mate. I have got a great segment. It absolutely reminded me there, mate. This little graph alludes to that exact issue there, mate. Bear with me, get your comments up in a little second. But as you can see there, this from the Athletic. Thiago is at the 30-game mark. It's a great little piece. It is on their social media, and as you can see, click on the link, everyone. It is absolutely fantastic read. Thiago's hit the 30-game mark in the league just once in the last 8 seasons, and he's gone off early in the second half versus, obviously, Fulham. Obviously, Premier Sport as well, discussing, obviously, how important he will be this season in that below article, and I will attach that link as in the description anyway, so do head over. Well, you can see there, boys, Luke, 1 30-game season, and that was from Thiago, and that was back in the 2018-19 season. Liverpool knew exactly what we were buying in terms of his availability as a player, didn't they?
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? I mean, seeing that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, you look at it and you think in the Bundesliga, I mean, obviously, if you look at the 3 seasons, the 27, 27, 30, I mean, they do play 34 games a league season. So, I mean, to miss obviously 7 to, well, you say between 5 and 7 games, you would say is not the worst thing in the world. But I think if you look at the after the 30-game season, I mean, that was actually quite drastic. You see the amount of injuries that he has picked up. I mean, this one for me just sums up. I mean, Ricky mentioned on our show, I think it was last season, like he was open to maybe letting him go. And it sounds bizarre. I mean, obviously, a lot of people think, no, you can't let Thiago go. Like Thiago's a world-class midfield player. When he's on his day and he's fit, he's one of the best passers in world football. 100%. He gives anything you want in a midfield player, like creating chances and being able to dictate the way the midfield is run. Thiago is one of the top sort of priority players you want in that side. But you look at them stats and they don't lie. That's quite worrying. Liverpool's midfield is obviously, as Pep Linders his book, as you see, Jack, intensity. I'm a bit worried now. He's got 1 year left on his contract after this year. It might come to the end of the season and Liverpool may decide to sort of cash in a little bit, because if we are really going to be potentially going after someone like Jude Bellingham, I do believe that some big exits will happen at Liverpool next summer in that midfield, and it could be Thiago. I don't think you're going to see Thiago and Bellingham in the same Liverpool side if Bellingham comes to Liverpool next season. And I generally think this is one of the reasons why. I may be wrong. I could be wrong, and people may disagree, and that's fine. But for me,
it's just his availability. We're questioning. We're not questioning his quality, because everyone knows it's his durability in a Liverpool system.
And as you said, like,
and those stats.
We've had like me and Ricky have had again discussions about him. Obviously, myself and you've had discussions about Wijnaldum and his availability, and his availability was fantastic. And that was one positive I saw from his game. He was always available for Liverpool. He would always stay fit. But I just generally feel that Jurgen Klopp will sort of see these statistics come up sort of after a couple of seasons whilst having him at the football club. I do think this is a massive worry now. The news will come out tomorrow. I'm guessing it'll be a couple of months, because that is going to be a huge, huge gamble if he keeps hold of Thiago a lot longer term. But we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, I'm just hoping that we get someone in, because if we don't, we could be in big trouble before, sort of the World Cup in January, because that's where it's going to really affect us a lot.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And get to everyone's comments as well. Bobby Sarton was just stubbornness and petulance from the boss as well. Kenneth, thank you very much for tuning in, mate. Obviously, if anyone's watching on Facebook, drop that follow button down below. And as I said, always do get involved. Do go live every night from 9 p.m. onwards throughout the week. But nice one, Kenneth, and everyone for tuning in. Spiders class.
PUBG. The lads are just watching me before.
PUBG. On the game.
I never used to. I played that once or twice. I never really sort of got into it.
Good, yeah, I played a lot. Yeah.
But Fabinho was a shock yesterday. Normally solid everywhere on the field, but he looked so tired yesterday as well. 100% there, Con. I know you're probably busy, mate, but I did drop you the link. You're very welcome to join, mate. But Alan's saying on his comments, even last year, Fab was not able to play 90 minutes a lot, Connor. It's worrying as well. And case to a point, I've made on a note as well. It's not just Liverpool, it's Manchester City as well. In terms of they will be in the market for midfielders. They will be in the market for, we'll be both vying for very similar midfielders. But if you look at City's midfield, that's aging as well. I think Gundogan's going into a last year of his contract this year. Bernardo Silva, potentially, once they get their financial house in order, he'll be going.
Isn't it mad that they're actually talking about their exits and nothing's affecting them?
Yeah,
like they're telling us saying now, Bernardo Silva can go. Like Pep obviously don't want him. Like Pep came out in his interview today or yesterday and turned around and said, we want him to stay, but if he wants to go, then the fee has to be accepted. So in other words, if you want to go, mate, you can go. They're so happy. Like he's got that team sort of in a way where no one's bigger than the club, obviously in that sense, but you're more than happy to go. And it's like that's Bernardo Silva. I would love a Bernardo Silva at Liverpool, not the person itself, but I would love a Bernardo Silva type player at Liverpool.
David Silva, Bernardo Silva, very similar type players.
And I think Bernardo's one of City's, and I think last year he done probably the most pressing stats, and obviously the running wise, he's got an absolute bloody engine on him when he does play. But nice one, Al, for your comments. Fabian, thank you for your comment, La. Appreciate it. Having a good night, mates. Every single one of you. It's not the first time a newly promoted team causes problems to one of the top teams in the league. Their confidence level is super high at the moment. I kept wondering why the pitch looked so small. That's it, mate. That's a hallmark of a Liverpool team, that, mate, when isn't it, Spider and Chat? Liverpool do that in European games. We make the pitch look small. But Fulham done that to us.
We don't give any space to anybody. We're so good at that, and I think they've kind of done a Liverpool to us yesterday, to be honest with you. So and even in that, we even going back to the Thiago thing you were saying about it. At the end of the day, he might only play those games, and Liverpool might know about. He only cost 20 mil. So we didn't pay too much for him. We knew he was just coming in as a stopgap. I don't even expect. I think we expected him to be. We knew he was going to be good. We didn't expect him to be like a mainstay in our midfield every single game. And I don't think Liverpool did as well, especially, or even depend on him that much. If they knew those stats that he's only played this amount of games or X amount of games, whatever. Yeah, the last two seasons were like 24, but he was, in fairness, it wasn't his fault with the Richarlison injury that put him out in that season. But still world class. I think there is a chance we could cash in him if we bring in a midfielder now and Jude Bellingham is coming in next season. I think then he's been cashed in on, definitely.
But the thing is, though, mate, if Thiago's injured or if he's not available, how do we break down teams in that midfield?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to have to get somebody in now. Spearing, yeah.
Jay Spearing getting the ball and pinging it 50 yards over the top.
Yeah.
Good luck, boys. Well, yeah, nice one, mate. It was a poor performance highlight in the midfield. It wasn't a penalty, but if one of our players got that penalty the same way, we would. I thought it wasn't a penalty. It was as well. Spot on there, Philip. Virgil van Dijk would have blocked him off a few steps before. Could have blocked, 100%. Obviously, Eamon's on the build up to that goal. As I said, mate, that goes to my point, and as me and Luke were saying, so obviously the Mitrovic goal, and there's so many zones in which you can stop that pass, even if a player does step over. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but we need to start doing that in the game. It's time will tell, and we will get the reaction. We know. We 100% will, because Jurgen Klopp's like us fans. He's so passionate. He loves Liverpool Football Club, and he would have been the most disappointed out of all of us as fans. But he knows what these players are capable of, 100%. And these players will react in the right way, and I know, and we all trust that they will. But throughout the season, if we continue to have performances like that, the writing's been on the wall the last couple of seasons when the performance levels have dropped. And especially was it the Palace game last year? Like when Palace rocked up to the Etihad, and was it when we played Brighton or another team in the league beginning of the year? And that happened twice where Liverpool dropped points when City dropped points. So
I mean, Man City lost their first game last season.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they may look a bit stronger this year round, but they lost their first game last season, and everyone was like, "Well, they're not going to have the best of season." I mean, they were 8th at Christmas. Is it right? Was it the season before? And they went on to win the league. So little bits like that, I think to myself, okay, it's only one game, but it then flips back to what we said earlier, Jack. Like, at the end of the day, we can't afford to drop these points against Manchester City because it's the hardest thing to play catch up against, because they will go off in the distance and take a 10 to 15 point lead. That's just how it is.
Especially if that bloody Norwegian steam train up front for them continues what he done today. I don't know, we can joke about it, but if he plays like he did today, I know West Ham were poor, but he's going to be a joke, mate. And Núñez will get goals for us, but it's another thing putting Haaland in that team. And it's made to be, what would that do? An extra 10 more points a season? We're like, City and Carragher's points I've seen on a couple of videos, Jamie Carragher, over the last couple of weeks, he goes, the problem with City was never scoring goals. But what happens if they score more goals this season? Like within games, and they win, that gives them more chance of winning the games that they drop points in. And that's crazy. Like, instead of be football manager-esque stuff, it's going to be mad. Corner, no. I'll tell you what, if Liverpool actually got the checkbook out, and I know it'd be a lot of money, but the Premier League teams, you only have to look at not just Liverpool and City, but teams down the bottom, the business that some of the clubs have been doing is absolutely phenomenal. You've got like a top 10 team going to a La Liga 4th side team and going, right, I'll have your player, I'll have yours, and then vice versa anyway. But to get to everyone's comments, Jota out for a few months. I think it's 2 months, Russell.
He's back next week, I believe.
Yeah, it's supposedly back for it was a 2-week period. So that's a good positive for Jota coming in as well.
Missed him yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Thiago out. We need 2 players and forward and midfielder. I am generally worried. Yeah, we'll speak about that, Russell, mate. As I said, I made some notes before and we're 100% question that. I'd get your mate. No, Gary. No. The thing is with Tielemans, we're speaking about having legs in midfield. Yeah, Tielemans, my nan is quicker than Tielemans on a football pitch. Tielemans turns like a truck. Yes, he's got good agility in that, but if you put him in a Liverpool system, it'd just be the Belgian Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, mate, because he's got no pace about him. Like, my nan's quicker than him. But thank you very much for your comment, lad. I want Yuri Tielemans nowhere near Liverpool Football Club. And I've spoke to Ant, my good mate Ant, he's a massive Leicester fan, and he's told me all about him anyway. Yes, he's got qualities, but no. If he's playing in Italy, he'll look like bloody Pirlo in Italy because the game is played at such a tempo, really. The only reason Keita is getting a new contract is so he doesn't leave on a free. Yeah, 100%. That's the only reason.
Liverpool were happy to let players leave on a free transfer. We've seen Wijnaldum. Who else? Emre Can. I mean, 2 high quality midfield players, and Liverpool gone, well, leave on a free. I think Keita could be a similar situation.
Yeah, but we all know what will happen with Keita, don't we, boys? And just we'll let him go, and the man will be injury free for like 4 years.
Oh, of course.
As soon as he leaves Liverpool, go to Barcelona, get them Champions League qualification, get them out of debt. And
it's so annoying though, isn't it? Like when you see players that leave like football clubs, and all of a sudden you're like, how? Like I think is it Werner's going back to Leipzig? He's going to score. I know he's going to score about 20 goals over there, and it's like Chelsea were like, why couldn't he score goals over here?
Chelsea been flogging all their players, haven't they? They're like, you want him back? It was a sell him at a 10% value.
Is Werner going back? Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone.
Apparently it's pretty much a done deal, and it's permanent as well.
Yeah. Pretty sure Todd Bowlesy literally probably dropped them off in his private jet and went, fuck it off. Get out my team. No, Luke Hughes to brings back. Yeah, let's get Konchesky back. Wait, what?
We need
midfielders. Paulson's available, isn't he? Aquilani.
That's under control. Borges when it's available. Did Declan Rice sign a new deal, or is he?
No, please.
As an anchor, because if he's not as an he is an engine, but not as a playmaker type. But we're going to need. I think we're going to need more to protect Hendo and Fabinho. To be honest with you.
For me, I'll ask you lads and chat. I'll ask you all individually on the panel and chat. Let me know what type of midfielder do you think we need. For me, I look at it and we got absolutely bullied yesterday. And I think like a physical presence on a football pitch. And if it was true, you've seen a lot of reports over the last couple of months that Liverpool were in for Tchouaméni, believe it or not. But if it's the case, if it is, he's an absolute monster on a football pitch. He's 6'2", 6'3". He's pacey, and he's the age profile as well. He was ideal, but we all know, as you said, Luke, it was the writing was on the wall. He was going to Real Madrid because he wants to win the Champions League. If any player's got any aspiration to win the Champions League, you go to Real Madrid. But Luke, what profile of player and chat do you want to see Liverpool bring in? Because for me, it's a physical presence on the football pitch. Someone that's got the athleticism, and that's probably the key word in terms of a midfielder. We need a dynamic midfielder. Someone that, even he doesn't have to be big, but someone that's got an engine on him, and he's continuously in the face of the opposition and closes down the space, the pockets of space quite quick.
The dream would be a Kevin De Bruyne type midfield player. That would be the dream. Someone that can pass directly into in between, in behind. Someone that's able to drop in, like someone, as you said, like that physical presence, that athleticism, like everything, like that he would bring to a team. But personally, we need someone that's going to add goals and assists, because we're too overly
reliant on certain players.
On Salah. It'll be Núñez now. Diaz has got to obviously try and get some goals and assists to his game. I mean, that's the way we play. I get that. But we've got no one from midfield. Rick's very adamant about how many assists that we get from midfield. I think the last person that really sort of was getting goals and assists to his name before he got that massive injury was Ox, when he was getting in the team. Like that, that before the injury against Roma. But I've not had a midfielder. We've not had a midfielder for 3 to 4 years that's got over, say, 10 goals a season. Like maybe contribute, say, up to about between 8, 9, 10 assists. We need that for me. We need someone that's gonna be able to contribute to the goals and assists.
To sign Gerrard back, boys. Wait,
I'd love to. Yeah. If that's I don't know, sort of maybe an attacking midfield player, like as a 10 or an 8. I don't know, but we ain't got no one in the midfield area that's able to really sort of press on and try and contribute to the goals. The last one, apart from Ox, obviously before his injury, I think the only sort of midfield player that really was helping contribute was Coutinho. But I can't. Obviously, a similar type player could be that, but
I think
we need both those types.
Yeah, both types there, mate.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you in a sec, Friday, but I've seen a couple of names, so I'll get through those comments as well. A couple of shouts for Neves, I think Russell's mentioned. Get to that, mate, anyway. But I'll ask you, Spider, in a little second, mate. Spot on there, Luke. I'm intrigued to see what everyone else feels in terms of midfield options. What type and profile? No, Gary. No, as I said before, my nan's quicker than Tillerman's on the football pitch. But nice one for your comment, lad. Appreciate it. And respect your comment as well. Thiago's not the issue. Yeah, 100%. He's not the issue. It's when we don't have Thiago's the issue. It is Keita and Ox, etc. When Thiago is out, they are either poor or injured. 100% there, Russell. We all know. James Maddison, as a quality player, would be better in this midfield. I like Maddison, but I don't think he's got the right attitude.
He doesn't track. He doesn't. Yeah,
and defensively,
doesn't do the off the ball work.
Yeah, he's good going forward, but I think defensively, we've seen Naby. We've seen Naby over the last couple of years. He has a good game. Yeah. And Naby, he's the most polarizing player on a football pitch half the time in this Liverpool team. He'll score and do the Cantona after scoring a 25, 30-yard banger. And then 10 minutes later, he's got players running left, right, and centre behind him. And you're like, what are you doing? Defensively, you know, like certain games, it's like you can't, and we've spoke about that. When we play in a system, and we spoke about it, when Trent's going forward, or Robbo or Costas, defensively, you need to be a lot more intelligent when you're playing in Liverpool's midfield. And to a point, boys, as well, and chat, is Jurgen Klopp and Pep Linders and the people running Liverpool Football Club, are they looking at the market going, yes, we can mention the odd player, and Jude and Barella, probably the two best youngsters in Wales, midfielders in Wales football. There's not really, I'd say, go 10, 15 years ago, there was a lot more availability on the market and a lot more quality, most importantly. But now we're shopping in a pool of players, would you say, Spider? Like a top 5% of players. And not really there. Obviously, there is players out there, and we've mentioned it. But it's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, the availability is not there. It's controversial. I know Klopp calls him the best in the world in his position, but I've had this conversation with you, Jack. If we're stuck and we played a season where Fabinho and Henderson played in the back positions, and if this new lad Ramsey is as good as people are saying to bring him in, and you have Mbappe as well as backup, why not just try Trent? If we're not going to buy anybody in the market, why not bring Trent into midfield? He was a midfielder by trade. He's a fantastic passer of the ball. He's got an engine on him. And his heart has always said, I want to be in midfield. I want to be the next Steven Gerrard. I want to be that. That's what he always wanted. But obviously he's been, indoctrinated into the right back position by, under Klopp. But I'm just saying, if we are stuck and we have as good as defense as we have, we've gone through struggles in the past where we haven't had good left and right backs and stuff, and we've had to give people a baptism of fire. I mean, we watched the whole couple of seasons of bloody Moreno on the back line, and that was that was a thing in itself. We've had Gomez playing right back, we've had Milner left back and right back. We've done that. As long as our centre back lads are there, why not bring the likes of Ramsey in, who's a hard tackler, who can also run up, who can also cross the ball? Why not bring him in there and fast track him into the team a bit sooner and give Trent a chance in midfield if we're stuck, if we're not going into the market.
And also to add to that point as well, Gomez can play there as well. Gomez can play right back. I mean, I know Gomez is more not suited to a right back position, but I agree with you. Maybe put Trent in. If you want to do something different, he's played one. I think this debate always come about Trent can play midfield was like he's played one game in midfield for England, and everyone's like, it didn't work. It's because England played 5 at the back. It's not going to work. Like if you put Trent in this England midfield, in this Liverpool midfield, you see it yesterday when when Liverpool were pushing forward, he was playing in that sort of right centre midfield position. I keep saying that to Jack, man. I've been saying it all last season. He was never right back. He was up in Hendo's position, up in the right centre midfield. Yeah, and I generally liked it yesterday. Yeah. I generally when he went forward, like into that sort of right central midfield position, I've never seen like the likes of Mo Salah make great runs off the ball. Nunez was really making some decent runs. Why not? Why not? You could trial it against the lower block teams like your Bournemouths and XY. And if it doesn't work, then all right, we tried it. It's not going to work. But for me, I agree with Spider. Like, I'd love to see the opportunity this season happen.
Because I think he's the best passer we have in the team.
100%. Yeah. But try it, boys. I know, and I know it's. We spoke about at the top of the show. we can't. That's the thing. No preseason and was probably the time to trial that. But we're playing in such a competitive environment where we can't. We're 2 points down already. I get where he's coming from.
I think you can only do it in certain games, though. I think preseason you can try it, but it's not that same intensity. I think in the Premier League compared to what there is in preseason games, like for example, that's why I think when you put in games like Bournemouth, Aston Villas, and all that, that's where I would say, right, if you can play him there, obviously, because you're expecting the high press, etc., and all them sort of things when the teams are out of possession, that's where it could work. But why not give it a go?
Because if he's on the right hand side of that midfield as well, where Hendo plays, he's definitely covering the guy that's in the right back. So I mean, you've already made that defense even stronger by having like a Gomez in there with Trent in front of him. You know, Gomez is not going to bomb on, but Trent can move into that position and work off Salah easily. Yeah.
But we've seen over the last couple of seasons, Trent, and when I've been in the game, or I don't know how it translates on telly, Trent for last year was predominantly, I haven't seen the graphs and that, but obviously he's probably a bit more higher, top right of the pitch, if you get me. That's probably if you've seen a heat map, I'll probably try and get that up this weekend, have a little look in terms of the data and that, but he seems to be always picking up that central, it's like a natural, he gravitates to that position, doesn't he? Because he's naturally been doing that from a young age.
Yeah.
And that's where teams have in the past identified. And obviously, due to the tactics in which we do deploy, that's the area of the pitch teams do go. But I 100% agree with you there, boys. And chat. Get your comments in as well. I know it seems to be a thing that everyone like brings up that idea, and everyone's like, oh, no, don't do it. He's world's best right back, which he is. But it's like, oh no, you can't put him higher up the pitch because he's so good playing right back. But didn't Carragher start at right back or Gerrard play right back in a young age and everything? And then so give it a go, especially if we are having games like we did against Tottenham last game of the season. We win that game, we win the league. And that's facts. And if we're going to be dropping points, try something in the game to win the game. And whether that's strength, as the lads have said, put them in another position. But get to one's comments as well. Make sure I haven't missed anyone. Jose, absolute legend, mate. But Russell said Ruben Neves. I'm surprised Ruben Neves has not gone to a bigger team. No respect to Wolves. But
lazy.
Lazy, do you think?
Yeah.
Very attitude, similar to Tielemans, in my opinion, and attitude as well.
Yeah. Can help out the Portuguese. You never know. But it'd be intriguing because he was at like an age, and he's like 23, 24, 25.
Yeah, he's still young. He's still relatively young as well.
I would have thought it would have kicked on anyway. But hello, guys. A massive fan, Thiago fan, but he's not. He is not the issue. Yes, we 100% agree there, Andrew. That's what we all said and chat have said tonight. He's not the issue. But I've read today that if Thiago was out for 4 to 6 weeks, Liverpool will go back in the market to buy a midfielder. We need to, like, regardless.
I'll make myself available, Andrew.
Yeah. We'll put ourselves in midfield. That's the
reason why I'm worried about putting Trent in the midfield, because that gives us an excuse not to go into the market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Big up Jose as well. Absolute legend. Thank you very much for tuning in, mate. And every single one is. If you are new around here, hit that subscribe button down below. Subscribe. I'm going to change my voice there. I was going to say, subscribe to the 1892 Reds podcast as well, Luke and Mickey, and obviously the Kitmen Spider. Is that your YouTube channel as well?
Yeah.
Just shout out that as well.
Spider LFC is my YouTube channel. Irish Spider guys, where you find me mostly, because I'm over there gaming just before I popped on here, obviously. And the Kitmen is something we're doing with the two of us, which is more like, besides doing watch-alongs and things like that, it's a lot of comedy sketches because the guy that's with me is a comedian. So we're going to be doing a lot of like little, 30-second to a minute comedy sketches in between, like adverts in between what we're doing, So
is he Eric Ten Hag?
That's
a laughing show in itself.
And we're going to be. I'm building a studio upstairs, so there's going to be at least 5 or 6 of us around the table sitting on that, and we bring everybody we possibly can over and jump onto that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. 100%. So we'll all be the Kitmen at that stage.
Yeah, spot on there, mate. Russell, he doesn't want to go, mate. He was playing in a game tonight for Barcelona. Frankie de Jong, I've seen quite a
Our club's prepared to pay the 20 million in his wage.
My man's on 50 million a week by the sounds of it at Barcelona, and why wouldn't you?
He's the highest paid player there, isn't he?
Yeah. We need a proven DM, Jack, and a ball winner, 100%. That's what I just said before, mate. And I think a lot of us do agree. We need more quality in all of our areas. Gavi, but it means big money. Gary, I think, is he signed? I don't know if he signed his new contract, but he would certainly add to Liverpool. And in terms, Maddison would make Liverpool better going forward, yeah, mate. But I think for me, we need a player that's got more combativeness. Oh yeah, I'll try and get that picture up there, Luke. Ruben Neves is a ball winner and can score 100%. So he probably would add. He's spot on there, Russell. He would add, as we've discussed tonight, haven't we, chat? And the lads on the panel, he would add goals to your midfield, but there's a lot of areas for concern. Martin, can Martinelli play centre mid, Gary? Yeah. I'll tell you what. Not quite the Everton playing Iwobi in the midfield, was he?
And you know, like he scores free, isn't he?
Oh no! I don't.
Yeah, not even for a filling gap.
No. If he would have signed Isco about 5 years ago, maybe, yeah, but no.
I'm just trying to see who's there for free that Liverpool would actually pick up rather than having to go into the market. Is what I'm looking at.
Kessie went on a free, and especially
I didn't rate him though. I know it's options, but I didn't rate Kessie.
He's better than Jay Speedham, mate. I'll tell you that.
No.
Yes. I'll tell you that. Saying that, Tyler Morton did absolutely slap the arse of Kessie.
Even that as well. How does Klopp then just allow Tyler Morton to go? If he's supposed to be the backup to Fabinho
and Henderson,
why does he just? Game time, I get that, but
I think he's looking at Bajcetic now for that, is he? For Fabinho.
But that is,
I think it will be now,
yeah.
He was on the bench yesterday, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, it's only one game, but I'm sure Klopp knows if we have injuries like we have, it's going to be a hard ask again. Yeah, and that's what I said at the top of the show in the opening. If people were just tuning in now, these lads need help, like in certain games and throughout the squad. We know how good they have been. And I said, what the point we know to say is that. So we mentioned Kiefer Moore for when we play Bournemouth, yeah, because he's going to be flying in the back post, a big 6'5" lump, and he played quite well for Bournemouth against Aston Villa. He absolutely spattered Steven Gerrard. Yeah, I was going to say. We've mentioned obviously the four stages of obviously the goal, and it wasn't just Trent from a defensive point of view. It was Hendo losing the ball, Ali, and everyone in terms of that stage of the goal in which we did, and obviously we criticised Virgil van Dijk in terms of him getting spun. We've mentioned that. I want to talk about the Hendo spamming of crosses. How long do we have to chat as well? How many times do we have to sift through Hendo spamming a ball into the box?
That last one, a cross. It was supposed to be a shot. It was a cross, wasn't it? At the crossbar.
If you put a line following his ball, man, it looked like McDonald's all over the bloody pitch. The arches everywhere, man. It's just it was horrible. I'm sick of watching it the last couple of years, man. It's just I love when he gets that bendy ball to the back post. I don't mind that one. That's a fantastic cross. But this thing where he's just inside of the foot, looping it in the air and going nowhere, and then he's like pointing to everybody like this, like, Hendo, calm down, dude. You know, just get the ball to feet and pass it. You know.
Do you know when Salah gets the ball and he cuts back, and you could see the camera shoots across, and you could just see Henderson. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake! Like you know what's coming up, and that ball, and then the camera just swerves round, literally just to see it come out of play now. But no.
I feel sorry for Henderson, and I've been one of Henderson's biggest fans. And I said I will back that man. I think all of us will back that brilliant man captain. To back that man. Yeah, brilliant captain. But you're asking too much of Hendo in that midfield. Like, and Jurgen Klopp himself has said it in a presser months ago. Hendo's best position is a 6, but for some reason we're playing him the right of that midfield.
I think it's because
we're asking him to do a job, aren't we? That he can't do.
I think Hendo just loves the position that he's playing in now because he played with the SAS that time. You know, but he was more in a more of attacking position, and he was very effective doing that. But the problem is now he's in his 30s now, right? So, you know, he won't have the legs to do that all the time. As good as a professional as he is, I'm just glad that we're not seeing the days where it was Hendo passing back the ball backwards. You know, that those days are long gone. And I'm kind of tapping myself on one shoulder to the other in one way, saying, all right, if we got looping past Hendo, is better than back pass Hendo. So that's the kind of scenario that I'm in now. But look,
thing is though, Spider,
yeah.
you keep hold of the position. You keep hold of possession if you pass backwards.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I get that. But like it was so often. It was nearly every pass at that stage for those seasons or so. So, but no, I'm delighted he's back up with. I don't know where this loop and pass stuff started a couple of seasons ago from Hendo. Like a season and a half ago, he just started doing this thing, and I'm just like, but it's not gone to anybody. There's nobody there. We never had like a front man that would take it down and turn around with it or do whatever, And you're playing with people like Mo Salah and Mane at the time that always like the ball at the feet. Or if it is, at least give it a bit of power over the top so that they can trap it and turn. But this thing was just playing into defenders and their number 6 hand by just looping it all the time up in the air, and then boys are just jumping over and clearing it. I think it's like a pass ratio completion of that at about 0.4% or something. I never see it getting to anybody. It's just weird.
I was watching a live stream with you, mate, and I think all of us after that game were probably banging our heads against the wall, going "fucking hell!" I swear, if it does consist, like it's as I said, I'm gonna call it as it is. Not just Henderson, but some of them were absolute disgrace.
Awful, man.
There's the one thing of Hendo's game that really does my head in. Congratulations, Connor, on 700 subscribers. Shout out Connor as well. Absolute bloody legend. Fully do deserve it, mate. Is it my connection not lagging? Oh, is that? Oh, is it my eyes? Hello, lads. Hello, Doug as well. Where have you been, lad? Where have you been? I would like
today.
Yeah. I would like to see Carvalho in that Thiago role as well. I think that's as Spider did allude to before, and that
Thiago role. Oh.
I think that's long term where Liverpool do see him, because he I think we brought him on, was it for Diaz playing that left wing position against Fulham? But I think eventually, similar with Harvey Elliott,
I'd rather see him central. Yeah,
I was just looking at Connor's terminology. I mean, Thiago's role. And he's making Carvalho look hungry from the sounds of it. Obviously, if you look at the comment.
Wait,
Thiago role, Connor.
Yeah, what do FSGs from Jose have to do to pull Jacob Ramsey from Villa?
I'll take him.
Oh, decent old player, mate. I tell you what, he's probably got the best manager to get the best out of Jacob Ramsey, and in terms of one of England's Liverpool's legendary players. I bet you that if you're a player, chat as well, and lads on the panel, you're a player, young player, and you've got Steven Gerrard on touchline, he's going to learn so much from him. Anyway, right, I'll have to get that sorted. Right, I'll have to pick a talking point that you used to and chat can speak to. I've rattled through all these comments. Obviously, cheers everyone. Should have got that Aston Villa lads that went to Chelsea. Yeah, there was a lot of talk about him, Russell. I think outside of football, I've not seen a lot of them. Not going to sit here and say I know anything about him, but if you listen to the reports in terms of everyone speaking about him, he's got a big rapport in terms of he's potentially got one. He's one of them for the future. So saying that, Russell and chat as well, Chelsea just love to stockpile English or young players, and they never see the light of day, do they? So I think one of the big main points of that is the winger Callum Hudson-Odoi. I absolutely love him as a player. Yeah, he needs to get out of Chelsea and play, because he's last couple of years he's stinted his development at Chelsea.
He flirted with them with the contract, didn't he?
He went to Roma, didn't he? And he played well.
That was Maitland-Niles. Arsenal. Yeah, Maitland-Niles. Yeah, similar young player as well. But I think he was going to. I think Bayern put in a bid for Callum Hudson-Odoi a couple of years ago, and he rejected it. So it should have been addressed in the summer. Klopp probably won't buy anyone now. We were meant to have been buying Diaz in this window as well, but obviously Mane was a sound geezer and let us know 6 months prior, and that's why we got Diaz in.
So he's just asked to leave on loan, Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Oh, has he? He needs.
Yeah. So Southampton want him, but he doesn't want to go on a permanent deal because he knows he's got a good contract at Chelsea.
Leicester are lurking as well.
Yeah, I'd even take him if he was available. I think he's got a lot to offer.
Borussia Dortmund are in for him.
I think it's his end product for me, Hudson-Odoi. The only thing to listen down.
Well, we'll find out. I've been saying it since the last year. Costas on the pitch, even left midfield in the second half to give his pinpoint crossing into the box, especially not with Darwin Núñez in there as well. It's an option, Gary. Alan, sorry, mate. 100%. And we've discussed that. The more options, the better for Jurgen Klopp. But it's getting those options in and on the pitch. That's only when Jurgen can do that. But interesting point there, Alan. I'll say what. Probably Costas, would you say, lads? I used there on chat. Great point, Alan said. Costas probably got one of the best deliveries after Trent and Thiago, probably within the squad, would you say?
I agree.
Or his decision making when he gets to like that byline.
He's good in defence as well, you know. He's just as good as Robbo with the defensive. It's just Robbo has a much higher intensity, but Costas is he's not too far short of that, you know. Give him another season or give him more games under Liverpool, and he'll be up to the level of Robbo, no problem. I think he's got that mindset. He's suited to that role. He's technically his position is a small bit better than Robbo sometimes, but then you know Robbo tends to tuck in and try and help Van Dijk with an awful lot, whereas Costas tends to stay out. Yeah,
100%. If you could combine Robbo and Costas, you've probably got one of the. I'll tell you what, you got some player, 100% there, mate. But Ricky's agreeing with you there, lads, as well, and chat. Some of us being saying put Trent in midfield. We've got to try something different, especially if we are playing against low block teams, and we're sat there, Hendo spamming crosses in, Trent spamming in crosses, everyone spamming in crosses, always running in the box and just not getting on the box on the end of it.
It's mainly for his physicality, because if we've got Carvalho and Elliott to come in and replace Hendo and Thiago doing those kind of roles, Trent can also pass a ball, but he's after bulking up so much. So no, you know, there's a physicalness to it, a physicality to his game, I should say, and I think that he can help out Fabinho or something savage in that midfield, you know, and we all know he tracks back a fair amount, but I think he's in his own head, the way I've been looking at him, and he's just his demeanor himself, watching him play. He's kind of been just a bit joggy backwards in the last couple of seasons. You know, just not at that pace, not legging it back, not giving it the full intensity. I think he almost looks fed up with the role, that he needs a bigger challenge. And that's what it seems like to me, that he feels like he needs a bigger challenge. And I think giving him that midfield role, especially with the likes of Mabea, has looked well. Going up that right-hand side for us in pre-season, start bringing him in more for cup games, and just bringing Ramsey or Gomez there and let them rotate the right if you want to give Trent, just keep Trent just in front of him. And that's unbelievable cover to have there, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's worth trying, especially if Thiago is out, Ox is always injured, Kate is out for a bit on and off the pitch. It's the only thing, you know, we've got the availability there now and covering right back, so we can do it, you know?
Yeah, we seen instantly, me and you watching it, well, all of us were watching the game. Soon as Elliott come on the pitch, but we shouldn't be pinning. I know it's Liverpool Football Club, and these players, regardless of what age they come in, they've got massive pressure on the shoulders. Yeah. But we shouldn't be relying on it, 19, 18, whatever he is, how old he is, to come in and dictate a Premier League game at an elite level. Yeah. We shouldn't. Yeah. It's mad. But that's the position in which we are. Barella, Gary, you know, last couple of years, Barella is my answer for that right central midfield role. His defensive stats are absolutely fantastic, and the way in which he covers, obviously, the way into play with Dumfries down the right, obviously when Hakimi was playing for Inter Milan as well. Barella's defensive stats are absolutely staggering in terms of his ball recovery and his ball retention in those areas down that right. He would suit with Trent if Trent does play right back. Well, he will be for the next couple of years as well. But Barella is, for me, numero uno. I'd have him ahead of Jude Bellingham because I think he'd suit Liverpool's midfield a lot better.
25 as well.
Yeah, 25, experience, European football as well. You look at Barella and you look at or even when I watch games, and even when we played them in the past, I know he was injured when we played them, but in terms of when he's an experienced player, he can keep hold of the ball and he can shield the ball from about 5-6 players and skittle out of obviously the challenges and start attacks as well. I think he got like 10, 11 assists already last season anyway. A dream midfield signing would be Kimmich. No chance of prizing him out of Bayern, though.
You know, we were saying that You know, we were saying earlier about like dream midfield players. The one midfield player I would love, Goretzka.
Goretzka, yeah, he was linked with us a few seasons ago before he went to Bayern.
How old is he? How old's Goretzka?
I think he's like 27, 28 now. I think.
Yeah.
Can have a quick check, but Leon Goretzka for me would be if he ever become available, you've got to go for him. He is everything you want in a midfield player.
He's an animal.
27.
Animal, no, sounds. But I don't know what buying are feeding him and Lewandowski and that like massive bacon butties or something in Germany. Must be those like German sausages or something. Yeah, absolutely lovely them. But yeah, it's great shout there, boys, as well. Hello, how you doing, Yusuf? And no, we're not back Yoko. You can keep him. There we go, Yusuf. What a waste of money he was. Endo needs to do what he does best. Short passes. It looks silly when looping balls. Yeah, I'd much rather. Yeah, it does look silly. And it doesn't help the compilations. But I mean, that was a good effort from Hendo. Let's be fair.
I think he's meant to have shot.
But yeah, I don't know.
That was a cross.
How you doing? It was a cross there. It's like Ronaldinho when we played England all those years ago when he put that free kick past David James or the shot, whatever it was. How you doing, Jordan? Spider can do a job at CDMI. I can tell you what, mate.
Oh, yeah.
How tall are you, Spider? You're over 6', or?
Nah, Jesus, I'm like 5'9" or something like 5, something like that. Yeah. But I'd bite the ankles off you.
Yeah. You and N'Golo Kante in a pivot. I reckon.
I was more, back in the day. I was a striker, but I was at Leeds there for a couple of years in England. But that was like 1997, 1998, kind of jobby. So when David O'Leary was bringing across all the Irish,
should have told saying that was Haaland born in around that time? Oh no, he's probably born in about 96, 97. Anyway,
yeah, no, I'm not his dad. So.
Take
the puck off his dad. He looks exactly like his dad. Yeah.
No good. Not good. Yeah, that's putting it mildly there. Mates, as well. I'll get to all your comments as well. So if you have dropped in a comment, I will be getting to them as well. But I'm just having a look in terms of my notes. We've mentioned Robbo Costas debate. We lost the league by 2 points or a point over the last couple of years. We've mentioned that. City strengthening with Haaland. We've kind of glossed on that. But it's going to be quite staggering, chat. And I'll ask you, Luke, first. He could, if he does what we're all anticipating, and even I've said over the last couple of weeks, I don't think he'd have the impact in which he has. But today, watching that, Christ. Like, if he plays how Pep wants in that system, and he plays like he did today, he's going to be an absolute unstoppable force, isn't he?
It's a cheat code, isn't it? I think it's one of those. Like, I mean, the ball that I said it on my stream, and when De Bruyne played that ball, I clapped. I actually clapped. I know I shouldn't do, obviously, but as a football fan, you have to appreciate the world class Kevin De Bruyne part that as I mentioned earlier, something we need in our midfield. Just everything that it's just no words to describe it, mate. I mean, like the ball from De Bruyne was just absolutely out of this world. The weight of it, the accuracy, the vision, and we've said all along when Haaland signed for Man City, it's not even a fact of where De Bruyne has to play it. It's the fact of he knows that Haaland's making those runs and Haaland's going to get him behind. The acceleration of that guy. I mean, the penalty he won today, most players, I'd say 9 times out of 10, would not get anywhere near that ball. Like, he was so far away from the ball. You look like before he'd started running, the goalkeeper would have been favourite.
Looks like he was about to deck Fabianski, didn't he?
It was honestly, like, it's something that, I mean, he's a monster. He's an absolute monster. I've predicted him to be top goal scorer this year. I know a lot of people say that might sort of be a bit harsh compared to like the likes of Harry Kane or Mo Salah, for example, but the guy's an absolute machine. He's scoring 2 goals against West Ham, who have, potentially one of the sort of teams that are pushing the top 6.
We got beat, as you said before, mate. We got beat there last season.
No,
I wouldn't surprise me this season if we go there and we drop points.
But they dropped points there last season themselves.
Yeah.
So they've already gone there and just stamped the authority down. And like, that was a massive that's a statement. They lost to Liverpool last week. Obviously, the miss that he made last week obviously was hilarious. But now he's obviously got the 2 goals. He's off and running. The guy, for me, is by far one of the best strikers in world football. And as you said, Jack, Man City are going to score more goals with him in the team. De Bruyne is there. They've got Cancelo that can play balls into the box. They've got Bernardo Silva.
My mistake. It was Areola.
Yeah, Areola was the goalkeeper. Yeah, but there's just to see him up front. I mean, to think, was it 2 or 3 years ago that when he was playing for Salzburg and Van Dijk was against him, and there was obviously talk about him then, and everyone was like, "Oh, Van Dijk's got him in his pocket, this and that," which he did in that game. It's not going to be as easy. The players around him as well is just going to make him so much more harder to defend against. His acceleration, his speed, his finishing is just absolutely ridiculous. It's going to be difficult to win the league against him this season, isn't it?
It's going to be mad, isn't it? Last bad how many points he will get as well. But I think was it his second goal where he just ran on like a steam train? Norwegian steam train that he is.
No one was near him. Like, and last thing I would just sort of say about the finish from the second goal was I mean the finish was unbelievable, but what I found sort of so amusing was everyone knew, not just the fact that the ball was going in the back of the net, everyone knew exactly where the ball was going to end up. Far corner, across the goalkeeper, in that little corner. Like everyone knew where it was going to go. Even the goalkeeper probably knew that's where it's going. Like I had no doubt. When another striker's through on goal, if hopefully not Nunes, hopefully Nunes puts all of his away.
Nunes be good in the Premier League as well, I think.
Yeah, but it's like if you look at the way Haaland puts himself in front of goal, he for me is the striker right now that you would say, yeah, he's putting that way. You may get the odd striker that might miss 1 or 2. He's not missing those chances. That's just how good he is.
As the memes say, he don't miss. Apart from when we played him in the Community Shield, but yeah, that's the odd. Everyone's cheering.
I'm just watching this passage. Just speaking, it was like FIFA 12, just pressing the through ball, and it was automatically going to the striker. That's how easy and simple it was.
Sensational.
The run he made was fantastic.
And City brought on, who was it? Mahrez, Bernardo Silva,
even Cole Palmer as well. Like they brought on as well. Like Calvin Phillips come on as well. Right.
Yeah, as Scouts are saying there, some of you there, Luke, it was like a cheat code. It's the oil money cheat code, isn't it? Yeah, it was. Zaniolo, I think he plays for Roma, I think. But Barella, the Italians give me Aquilani PTSD, and Aquilani was better than Barella at Roma.
I thought the same thing while ago, Jack, because all I was thinking was Brini in my head. And what's your man's what was the left back fella that we had? He scored. He scored. He got 2 looping goals. That was it. But they gave me nightmares, man. Italian players in the Liverpool team, they really do.
I was going to say, is there ever? Obviously, you watch a bit more of the early days as well. Was there ever?
You're calling me old.
Sorry that. Yeah, it was a polite way of saying it. Has there ever been like a Zola at Liverpool, like an Italian? I'm trying to think, but I don't think there has been a good Italian at Liverpool.
Balotelli.
No.
Oh, you could just give me massive PTSD again.
Yeah.
I'm having Aquilani flashbacks, Balotelli flashbacks, and it wouldn't surprise me if we bought Barella and he's fucking shite. It must be the Italian case. Aquilani's Mars put as a case on Liverpool Football Club or something. But no, obviously. Yeah, but Gary, much more than that. I think with
about 60, 63,
68. I know there's been a lot of talk of Inter saying that they're more or less skint at the minute, but I think if it's either going to be Liverpool or a big club in Europe is going to go to Inter and go, right, 80 million, 100 million, get the job done. Someone will do that in the next couple of years because, as we've said, it's not just Liverpool and City. A lot of teams, especially at the elite level of European football, they need new midfielders, and there's not a whole plethora of top talents around world football.
It says right now his current market value is 63 million.
Oh yeah, and then plus for Barella as well. James Ward-Prowse with a shout, can Saka and press. It's just the English tax, Ricky. Like it's now. He's a good set piece taker. I tell you what, his set pieces are worth 90 million in themselves. Like, fair enough. If we bring him on, saying that, we did have Ricky Lambert. Remember, Ricky Lambert used to bang free kicks in for Southampton, and yeah, he turned into me playing up front in a charity game for Liverpool. So yeah, but fortunately, as obviously Russell said there, buying our feeding, Brozovic, he's just signed a new contract there. Andrew, yeah, he's not coming, not really good enough. I don't think he's good at Inter because it's the Italian league, but there's a lot of great. That's probably why there's so many good technical players in Italy. Would you say, Luke? Because the game's played at such a slow pace, you need to be a bit more technically gifted on the ball.
That's why they don't do well with the Liverpool team, doesn't it? I think, as you said about the likes of Aquilani, yeah, I agree with you. The game's so much slower. It really is. I think who is it that come on? I think it was in the West Ham game today. Someone had come on. I think it was no, it wasn't Samaka. Sorry, totally different game. Man United versus Brighton. And that Malacia come on at left back. And the first thing that happened in the game, Lamptey got the ball, absolutely turned him, and then he just dived in and fouled him. And it was like, welcome to the Premier League. So you've gone from a league, which obviously he played in the Dutch league. You've played in the league where you can dive in, you can do all this rash challenges. But in the Premier League, it's so much more quicker in them sort of areas. It just goes to show that different leagues obviously offer different sort of styles of play. And I fully agree with you. I think in Italy, the game's a lot slower. Technically, midfield players could be a bit better with the ball. Obviously, because they've got a bit more time to sort of create sort of chances. But I'd like to see a Barella type player at Liverpool. But as Connor said, that the fee would be too much, in my opinion.
Yeah. With all of it. Who conceded the pen? Virgil van Dijk. In what game? Jose.
West Ham.
Let us know.
Areola.
West Ham. Yeah, Areola. Sorry, there, chat. Yeah. Haaland is a beast. That's putting it likely there. That he is. He's. Everyone would have been talking about Nunes yesterday. If he had started, he could have. Yeah, we start. I think we joked about it, but I say Liverpool would have won that game if Nunes started, but Nunes wouldn't have been defending that back post or in the midfield. he could, but every fan from every other club is overreacting from just one game. Ridiculous stuff as usual. Yeah, well, I was listening to a couple of I've seen a couple of Aston Villa videos as well, and judging from their reaction, a lot of Aston Villa fans, Gerrard's not going to get time at all. Like, Gerrard will be gone if the results don't pick up in a couple of weeks as well.
Bots, do your job in the chat.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
Jesus Christ, here we go.
What mods? You just said bots do your job.
Yeah, bots do your job.
Block user. There we go. Have you sorted that? Hopefully, you've sorted that. Haaland is like that overpriced 6'5". No, he's going to be an animal, mate. He's going to be an absolute animal. Big up John, big up everyone as well. Gallagher wants to leave. Lima from Leipzig. I think he was linked with Bayern Munich, wasn't he, Russell? Obviously, I think he's a defensive holding midfielder. He's got quite a engine on him anyway. Players. And the one last thing we'll speak about, last 5-6 minutes here, chat as well, and that's the lads. We're wasting, and I mentioned it in your comments there, Luke, as well, chat, let us know. It's the fact that we've got Salah in his prime, Alisson, Virgil van Dijk. A lot of these players are in their prime, and it's a fact if Liverpool do wait another 6 months, crystal ball, if we had it, would be absolutely fantastic. And it wouldn't surprise me, and great. We all want Liverpool to win the league. If Liverpool win this league by an absolute counter, then absolutely fantastic stuff. But we can't be hoping and praying. But are Liverpool wasting certain players' primes years for the sake of just getting that extra 1 or 2 players into the team.
Fully agree. We are. We've seen it over the years. The players that we've had in their primes, and they've not won a lot more than what they should at Liverpool. And it goes back down to the likes of Steven Gerrard. I mean, the likes of what he could have won at Liverpool, but we didn't have. But the player he was, and the prime that he was in, and the amount of trophies that he should have won, he should easily have had a couple of Premier League titles in his name. But you know, as you've said, Jack, like we're wasting a lot of time on not supplying these players with actual sort of well beaters that can actually help them win the bigger trophies. I mean, as Russell put in the comment there, someone like Xabi Alonso as well. There's loads of different players that we've done that, and Salah's in that bracket now. Van Dijk, Alisson, you would say Trent as well. I mean, Trent's obviously like the sort of say Steven Gerrard 2.0 sort of thing in the team. You don't want to be sort of wasting these guys' primes, and obviously you want them to win more trophies. And you look at the manager as well. I think, you know, we all love Jurgen Klopp, and he's, in my opinion, the best manager that I've ever seen as Liverpool manager. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like he should have a lot more than what he's not won. I mean, 1 Premier League title, we should have at least another 1. Champions League, you should have 1 more. FA Cup, potentially another 1. Hopefully it will come in the next couple of years. We don't know. We'll obviously hope and wait and see, but we're no stranger to it, Jack. I mean, it does need to hopefully change in the next couple of years.
Yeah. And I ask you, it's a great question here by Steve. Are we worse off without Ginny? No. I don't think we are. No, but in terms of, as we spoke about today, and a lot of us have discussed tonight, it's the availability issue. And I said with Ginny, as we can all agree, probably a lot of us, Ginny guaranteed you a 6 or 7 every single game at his Liverpool career. You got that consistent level, but thoughts on that, Spider? And what Steve said there?
Yeah, no, I like Genie and all of that, but I mean, he went during security, went at the same time, and you know, we just replaced him with, you know, the bringing in Thiago and bringing in, you know, the likes of Jota and all of these people. So look, we move on as a club and all of that. And all of that, a lot of people call to bring back Coutinho and stuff like that. But we had Coutinho's best days. We had from, well, I know Suarez went on to be brilliant at Barcelona, but we still got him half his peak, let's say. It was the same with Torres. We got Torres at his peak, you know. So we've had these players at their peak, and I think we know when to kind of cash in them and when not to cash in them. Yeah. So we kind of play smart. Yeah, we play smart like that. So I know he left on a free, but his wages were also too big.
He was wanting,
he was wanting more. He was looking for too much from what he gives. And if he scored 14 to 15 goals a season, yeah, you know, you'd probably do something about it then. But he wasn't. He didn't score too many goals at all. A couple of important ones, but he didn't score that often at all. He didn't assist that often. You know, he was an anchor player, and he knew the role well. But that was we can replace. He was very, very replaceable, to be honest with you, Genie. We replaced him in Thiago, whether or not he stays fit or all. But we've got Carvalho, you know. We've got Elliott to fill in these roles. We've got guys that are probably more gifted than what he was on the ball at the time, and they just need more time to play. I mean, poor Elliott got injured early last season. He hasn't had time at all to sit into this team, but he can now. So
what is it? Sorry, there, Spider, but that's what Luke in chat. That's what Luke sent me. It's the little light note to positive, to give a bit of positivity. That man, you have to send that
on to me so I can put it in my profile picture on Facebook.
Yeah, it looks. That's what I'm going to be looking like in another 5 years. I'm already my hairline's going mad here, but like I'll be looking like that, and especially if we don't sign midfield in the next 5 years, or especially 6 months. Yeah, I'll be like that if Hendo keeps on spamming those balls into the box, mate. It's absolutely no one. Like I'm pretty sure, yeah, gonna be looking like that as well. But it's a bit of lighter note to the video as well. I'll read out the last couple of questions as well. If you've got any last questions, please drop them in chat. for the panelists as well, for any of us, and chat mainly if you want to drop a quick question in. It's been an absolutely phenomenal show.
There's actually a few midfielders that are going to be finishing their contracts next season that could go a bit cheaper this season if we were to grab them.
Have you got a list?
There's a few here. I mean, there's or from Leon. You know, he's coming into his last year. He's a handy enough player, you know. You're talking. Oh, let me have a look back here. You have Guerrero, Bushra Dortmund, but I don't think he'd fit the bill. You're looking at well, De Vries is available there. Van Dijk would like him, but no, there's a lot of players actually coming up. Rabiot is available. Whether you know
he's big and physical though. He's
big and physical, but you know but I suppose with Klopp he could develop him a little bit more even at the end of his at the age that he's at. Thomas Lemar is available. Coming up.
Christ, let's get those Thomas Lemar videos out.
Ceballos is available. Yeah, so Gavi, it's saying here, is available in 2023. So
I'll tell you who else is available, Jack. I'll tell you who else is available.
I'd say that. I'd say that was the perfect time to end the show, but there's some more comments that I'd need to get through. But Luke's going on timeout for that. Yeah, there we go.
Gavi. Gavi's coming into his last year.
I've got the motor to the bottom of the screen.
It's you're back up there now.
Your favourite Yuri Tielemans is available with a year left.
I swear to God, if I wake up in the morning and we signed him, mate.
Zaha's coming into his last year. Wilfred Zaha's coming into his last year, but his attitude stinks.
Imagine him in Salah Darwin in training. Wait, what?
Yeah. The Core is available if you want to bring him across the
park. No. All right. You're gone now. Yeah, you're not getting left back in. Fuck that fella. Who the fuck is that guy in the way to Conor McGregor? Right.
What the fuck is that?
Lanzini. Yeah, there's a few that are available coming up in the besides the jokes, a couple of jokes that I mentioned. Yeah, but Gavi is available.
Don't keep on. Apart from Gavi, don't keep on reading there, Spectre, because I think you'll be going into League One quality in a minute.
Nah.
They're fucking shite.
Yeah, that's
shit,
That's what I'm saying. There's not many available. There's a handful. Yeah. Tony Kroos is available, obviously, if I call out these guys, but Memphis Depay is available. Asensio is available, but he's a lazy bastard.
No. This is all like the 10-year-old Twitter Avies wants to. Let's get Asensio and all that.
I do like the idea of Oyer or Rabiot, maybe, just coming in with a bit of physicality and a bit of playmaking in the midfield, but the rest, there's nothing there. Muriel from Atlanta is there.
There's a reason they're on a free la.
Yeah. No, they're not free. Well, they're finishing their contracts next year. If they get renewed or not. So if you put in like a bid now, you probably get them a bit cheaper if they wanted to get rid of them. But
spot on there, la. As Yusuf said, I was going to say Sangare from PSV, but he signed a new contract with them, and he's a DM anyway. He's an absolute monster as well, and I think he will go in the next couple of years. I think probably the only reason he signed that is because he will have a buyout, and it'll be interesting to see what that buyout is in the next couple of years anyway, but he's a player to watch.
Jesus, who was your man that went to Chelsea that we missed out on? And he's done nothing from. What's his name?
Raul Mireles.
No, just last season gone. He went on loan to him, didn't he? And they were buying him.
Saul.
Saul. Yeah. What the fuck? It just didn't. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. What a bullet charge.
He got absolutely battered there, didn't he, in the league? Safe to say, we'll be never coming back to the Premier League again. Thank God. One can see Liverpool. We must do better at Anfield. I'm hoping we make Anfield a fortress.
Yeah.
Like we have over the last couple of years. We've been absolutely fantastic. And hopefully, if we can convert those draws, especially at Anfield, as we said, into wins, then we'll be absolutely fantastic this season. And that's one. So, as Russell said, bring back Xabi Alonso. On Xabi, before we do shoot off, he'd be an interesting coach. He's got his coaching badges now as well. So there's a day coach in, I don't know if it's Herenveen at Holland, but all the ex-Liverpool players are becoming coaches. It's going to be absolutely fantastic to see. Even some of our fans have already thrown the towel in after one game.
Those fans will be the same guys that complain even when we win 4-0. Oh, we should have won it 6-0. And it's a travesty. That's those guys. Don't take any notice of them.
It's the thing, though. Like, as I said, we've covered all bases tonight, and I made up. You've jumped on, boys, and chat. Most importantly, all you tuning in, and I was quite skatering at the front, and as I said, not in a city and gloss over and be. And I'm quite positive when I do my YouTube. Luke knows, and you all know me over the last couple of years. I'm quite positive, but I'm gonna call it as it is. I'm not gonna be continuing to be positive for the sake of being positive when it was an absolute shambles. I'd look absolutely stupid. Even some of our fans have already thrown in towel. Gary, Liverpool must win at least 3 titles whilst Klopp is manager. 100%. And it'd be interesting. I think Pep's not signed his new deal, but hopefully he doesn't sign his new deal. But if he did, then game back on again. Game on. Losing the league, 100%. It's not about throwing in towel. It's about identifying the same problem as last season on the fact City won't drop many points at all. 100% agree with you there, Russell. That's how I approach this episode at the top of the show. That's the point. It's nail on the head.
It'll become interesting in October when Haaland takes an injury and he's out until after the World Cup. So
but let's get through all these comments anyway. I know it's been a very long time. Was he an hour and 40 minutes? I don't know having to pay Luke and Spider for the time as well. They're on the meter. Should you also from Caldeira on Lucas Paqueta, Frank Lampard, for fuck's sake, Yusuf, laugh Frank.
I'm sure he put Jack. I'm sure he did. You see put Jamie Lee there as well. Oh
yeah. Barella, Russ. Tell you what though, Jamie Lee could probably bang in a first hand cross into the box again though. Barella is 5'8". Technically, the Italian league is perfect for him. In the Premier would get battered. I'd agree, but I disagree in terms of Bernardo Silva. He's a very similar stature, and he's a similar technical ability. I think Barella's that good. It'd be sound, Russell, but 100% agree. Get where you're coming from there, mate. Isn't Javi Martinez like retired now? Is that the 50-year-old that used to play for Bayern Munich, like the defensive midfielder, Javi Martinez? Who's that guy? Because he's retired. I think he's playing in Mexico or something in like the 5th tier now. And you just remember that. Who was it? Was it the Polish DM that used to play for PSG years ago, and he just randomly turned up? I think he signed him for like 50 odd million or something. I can't remember, but how many? There's been that the players that just sometimes they get big moves and then they disappear. Would anyone take Gakpo then a midfielder? Gakpo very highly regarded in Dutch, mate, in the Dutch football. I think he scored again this weekend for PSV. One to look at, mate. But I don't think he addresses, obviously, as we've said tonight, the midfield issues. But he's a hugely talented midfielder. Yeah, there we go. Nice one, Yusuf. I know someone would knew that. Yeah. I'm going to go on full on Paul Mason here, but I'm not even going to pronounce that. But that's the
Prokovic.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Great stuff there, Luke. Christ almighty. Yeah, Agate as a coach as well. Liverpool will be champions, hopefully, as well. He actually played at West Brom as well. Yeah. Any Dutch winger?
only in the last half an hour of games, though.
Yeah. Milinkovic Savic, but there we go. But, gents, it's been an absolute pleasure. And to every single one of you, I wish I could shout you all out, but there's that many of you tonight in the comments. Thank you for tuning in once again, every single one of you. And we'll look to the positives as well. This Liverpool team has given us so many great years over the last couple of years. 2 trophies last year. And as I said, we have been a bit negative, but I've tried to be a bit positive in certain aspects as well. But when you're analysing that game, there was a lot more negatives to that game. But gents and ladies as well, it's going to be an amazing season. Hopefully, especially Liverpool do address the midfield issues. But Luke, firstly, just shout out your channel, mate, and where everyone can find you and what shows you've got coming up this week.
Yeah, I've got a few shows coming up this week, Jack. I've got Premier League review show tomorrow, and obviously we'll look forward to a Crystal Palace preview during the end of the week. But Jack, as always, thanks for letting me come on. Good to speak to you as well, Spider. It's been a while, but it's good to speak to you. But guys, in the comments, thank you so much. 1892 Reds podcast. We're live on YouTube, on Twitter, and just on Twitter and YouTube. we're only 5 subscribers from 600. So please come over and subscribe over to the United 2 Reds podcast, as you can see on the screen. And yeah, lots of shows to come up, and let's get behind Liverpool, and hopefully we do address our midfield issues. So yeah, thanks for letting me come on, Jack, and hopefully many more to come.
Very welcome, mate, as always. Thank you for taking the time out tonight, mate. Chat as well. Thank you for taking the time out to view. And if you are watching on the repeat, thank you very much as well. I will get to all your great stream messages and everything, everyone. But Spider, shout out your channel, mate. And what have you got coming up in terms of your football this season?
Well, I think they're sick of me now at this stage. But it's it's Spider LFC. A lot of watch-alongs coming along. You can catch me everywhere under that name, and then you can put the hashtag underneath it. You know, Danny Murphy budget J Spearing hashtag.
No, it's it's Hallen's dad. Yeah. There we go. After
Hallen's. Oh, just they're back again.
Oh, they're back again. The sponsor's back, Jack.
Go on, mods, do your job. Oh, bloody hell, they've all gone mad here. Yeah, what was it? Was it?
That's
love
Rob,
you.
That's Rob's new date and saying it. Yeah, of course. No, but
Mar's gonna be jumping in a minute. She's the only person that loves me. Yeah, there we go. Mar's gonna be having out with the Russian Elon Musk. Get your business going here. But yeah, thank you very much, Spider, for jumping in, mate.
No bother.
As well. But Yusuf, please just ban that channel. Like, I think you. 1 second there, chat. Fucking. Oh, my French. There we go. Instead of deleting the message. There we go. Thank you very much, John. Is there a way of just banning that account? Whoever it is. Hard user on channel. There we go. Sounds. Oh, Tom's finished his shift. There we go, Tom. And thank God we're ending this stream tonight, there, Tom. I ain't gone, boys, and chat. Yeah, what time are we on here? Do you want to go for another 20 minutes talking about that Chelsea win? But yeah, Tom, thank you. Football club. Yeah, I get Rafa back, boys. Yeah, ban the boss.
Rafa wasn't the problem, guys.
Yeah. It was mainly decor. Giving away pens by the looks of it.
Well, according to Spider, he's out of contract in the summer, isn't he?
No, Tom's still working. There we go. But yeah, think chat has been subscribed. Tell you what, it's a new shirt sponsor there, Steve, isn't it? It was a love chat on our new kit, 5-side football. Anyway, there we go. But hopefully, as I was saying to Luke, that's when I was saying to Luke, he's made it big time. He was getting bots in the chat now. I'll tell you what, but chat, sod everything on that note as well. But great seeing, guys. As Alan said, really enjoyed the show tonight, Jack, and thanks very much. No, thank you to every single one. Most importantly, thank you to the panelists tonight for jumping on. Hit the like button, people, please, as well. Great show. Take care, everyone. Everyone, fantastic show. Thank you very much, everyone. Everyone, have a lovely rest of your night. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. for another episode. Gents, thank you for joining me. Most importantly, everyone, thank you to every single one that has tuned in tonight. And the Reds will be back winning very soon. And up the new midfield that we're going to sign. See you later, everyone. And no more spam and crosses from Mental, please.